All right, so we're going to focus on page 7, which talks about reading. So lesson 2 on reading, we're going to first look at some tips for improving our reading score. Then we're going to have a little refresher about author's purpose. And then I'm going to let you do your practice where you read and then we answer the questions. So tip number 1 is you want to read the questions and answers thoroughly. Make sure you read every possible answer before making a decision. What I kind of want to show you what that means. Let's take a look at this one. Let me make this smaller. So question 1, we have 2 parts that talk about the raters. Well, these 2 questions, these answers are pretty similar, except they have something, the subject's just a little different, right? So C talks about the legacy of Al Davis in the NFL, and then D talks about the Raider when the Raiders joined the NFL. They're both talking about NFL, but they have different subjects. So we want to make sure we pay attention to that because that might be a little confusing. And then we come down to question 2, and I want to look at C and D. So it talks about Al Davis joined the team, and then Al Davis became the head coach. So those could be 2 possible things that actually took place. But I need to make sure that I'm reading that question thoroughly because maybe it's talking about a time, like in this instance. So what happened in 1960? Maybe this happened in 1960 and this happened in 1970. But if I'm not reading those answers all the way, then I could make a mistake there. So that's what it means to read answers thoroughly. Tip number 2, read the questions and answers before you begin reading. It's something very similar. It's actually the same thing for listening. This is going to give you a focus again while reading and help you identify answers to the questions. Okay, tip number 3, use keywords in the question to help locate the relevant section of the text. So using keywords, you can locate part of the text you need to read more carefully for the answer. So let's take a look at this. Okay, here it asks, according to the text, what happened in 1960? So this is all going to be about 1960, which helps me come back over here. Hey, guess what? Right here's 1960. This lets me know that I need to reread this part again so that I make sure I answer it correctly. All right, so let's erase that. Tip number 4 is going to be, what can I do in my daily life to prepare? So of course, it doesn't have anything to do with the reading right now, but in order to prepare for the reading section of the ELPAC, you can read as much as you can in English, pick subjects and topics you enjoy, read articles in English, read up about things. That gives you lots of practice, okay? Now, for this credit, for this page, I also want to remind you the author's purpose is very important. Question number 1 is ask, what is the text mainly about? You need to understand, is this a persuasive text? Are they trying to persuade me? Is this an informational text? Is the author trying to give me some information? Or is this text designed just to entertain? Are they trying to make me laugh or relax, enjoy the story, right? That kind of gives you a clue about how to answer this question. So make sure you're remembering and studying the author's purpose. So this is a short informational passage. I want you to read this and do your practice again. Okay? Before you read it, go through and read questions 1 through 3 thoroughly. Go ahead and practice with that. You won't be able to do it on the